Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
So, back with Frank Jackson after the marathon hour and a half of learning everything about Frank, from buying cameras from hoodlums to, but you did give it to the detective to find out if it was, reported or not. So whatever, you did your due diligence. And I know it's literally like 2:00 in the afternoon, but it's COVID-19, so I'm having a little bit of 20-year-old scotch.
Hey.
You had some Hennessy last night.
Well, yeah. So what happened was, a friend of mine, she goes, yeah, my dad's a recovered alcoholic, and he had this unopened bottle of Hennessy he bought 4 years ago. And she goes, you want it? And I was going, yeah, she had it, So I've had it since 2015, unopened.
Damn.
So last night, I pulled the top off, and of course the cork broke.
Yeah.
So I had to get a Swiss Army knife out. And I strained it through, I got it all. So this is what I did with it. It's perfect.
Oh, that's 20-year-old Hennessy just sitting in a beaker. Actually, that's a something flask. What's it called again?
Well, I don't know. It's a 1,000 milliliter.
Yeah.
And I drank. So it was a 750 milliliter bottle. So I drank 50 milliliters last night.
Look at you.
Which isn't much. But this will last. I don't drink that often. I mean, I figure there's this stuff I'm going to go find. I like Bailey's Irish cream.
Sure.
Well, there's a better one. Excuse me. It's called Five Farms.
Okay.
And it's over at the Total Wine place. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get my essentials. That's going to be one of my essentials today.
It is essential.
It's essential.
I mean, where I live, if you went outside, you'd think it's another goddamn day, because there's just as much traffic. Yeah, dude. And in this state, our curve has been flat the entire time.
It's kind of hard to infect a fucking tree, right?
Well, no, I mean, there's 100,000 people who live in this county. It's about the size of Ventura County, probably, I'd say.
They're all spaced out, though.
We're all pretty spaced out. I mean, there's definitely a little bit. You've been here. There's, that little downtown area. They're not, it ain't New York. And so let's see. We left off. You were at Transamerica. You just started your career as, well, that segment of your life as the corporate photographer.
So let me define that. So a corporate photographer does, and I was the only one. I didn't have an assistant either. So for that corporation, Transamerica was the parent company in San Francisco, and Occidental Light was their insurance arm. Mm-hmm. So they basically hired me because I could do. They'd hired like 10 different freelancers, and for meetings and stuff, you don't need anything spectacular. You just need the pictures to come out.
Right.
For tabletop stuff, you need expertise.
Yeah.
You need stuff because the art department, they'd say we need this mug floating in space, and we need good shots of this, and you got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I could do that. I could do the meetings. I could do the sports stuff, and so it ended up that they insured the Olympics in '84, and I hired me in '83. So I got hired after all the accreditation had been for the photographers, so they couldn't get me credentials. What they did was they said, look, we'll get you a stack of tickets no one else can buy, and you'll go in that way.
And you could bring gear.
Yes.
Oh, because it wasn't like today. Today they'd be...
So the men won the gold medal in Pauley Pavilion. Yeah. I had the number one seat in the corner of Pauley Pavilion, and I had 3 F3Ts with high-speed Ektachrome E6 film, because I had to shoot color film because everything, color transparency, color set for the separations for the printing.
Yeah.
So I was pushing Ektachrome 3200, 160 to 32. I got some great shots.
Wait, 160 to how to what?
To 320 to 320.
Oh, I thought you meant 3200, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck does that look like?
I'd have gotten back two giant blobs of color on one little clear.
Yeah, yeah, and it would have been kind of faint, right?
No,
Or it would have been really contrasty.
well, the Ektachrome was, if you shot it right and you put the right filter on it, it didn't come out blue. The high speed stuff, I didn't put any filters on it, but it was grainy, so it didn't come out really blue at all.
Okay.
It came out pretty flat, Had a good lab, had a really good lab. They told me what to do. And then later, after the
Who'd you have? A&I?
No. I would. You know what? I had. There was a lab. They did a hand line, pro hand line.
Oh.
They were a bunch of Thai people.
Really?
Yep. They were hand line. They were Thai, and they would do dyeing too. They were number one. They were in the middle of La Brea, around the corner from where Sammy's used to be.
Huh.
And I would go there. I had an account with them, and I would bring them, like, if I went out of the country to do a job for Transamerica, I always took 100 rolls of E6 film with me, 36 exposures, and I shot it all, and I'd bring it back. I'd bring it back in lead bags.
Yeah, because it didn't matter. You weren't paying for it. Shoot as much as you want.
They well, it was, they and I wasn't machine gunning the film. I was taking shots. I wasn't going 5 frames a second kind of stuff. I brought back.
Yeah, now idiots can do 20 frames a second.
Yeah, and they still don't know what they're doing, which is hilarious.
No.
Yeah, I know. We've become the old guys that are complaining about the young ones, but it actually is true. The sad thing, and we'll talk on this later, but the sad thing about that is that it is true that since we have all these new young guys on YouTube preaching about the craft, and they're skipping over all this stuff. They're stepping over mounds of infinite information that would really help you raise your bar and up your.
I see. I look at what's out there. It all looks the same. There's no individual voice. They all try to copy each other, and now you have them bitching about the fact that, I put it on Instagram and someone hot linked my photo to an article and they didn't pay me. Read the TOS, dumbass. Like, literally, read the TOS. You give it a non-exclusive license to anybody who wants it. So
the latest fad, and it's funny, the latest hot Leica camera all of a sudden now is the M6s. These little suckers have discovered M6s, and I watched one where the guy goes, "Hey, my buddy sent me." He's sitting outside with a box. Sent me this Leica M6, and I've never used one before, and I don't even know. He says, "Well, this looks cool," and I'm thinking. So even the ones that know how to use them, they pull it out, and it's got a lens on it, and it never has a shade on it. Never a shade. One guy had an M6, a 35 millimeter lens. He had his model outside with a background, trying to shoot portraits of her with a 35 millimeter lens in hard sunlight.
I know.
And I'm going, and no shade. And I was going, so what I typed to him was, "Hey man, it's great you're using this camera. I think that's fantastic." And I said, "I really do think though that it might help you if you put the shade on this thing. Might help you a lot." But anyway, I just left it at that.
What did he say?
I'm gonna type to him. I don't know if he got it. Probably somebody would read that, and if they're smart, they might go, maybe he has something there. But probably thought I was being snarky, but I didn't try to type like I was being snarky at all. I hope that, I'm amazed at the amount of people that will go out and do things like that and not put a shade on their camera.
Really? See a shade on that motherfucker? Because I don't see one.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, you know what you're doing. He has no idea what he's doing.
I mean, do you know why I don't have shades? Because I fucking break them. Because I break them. And they're, for that Sumalux, what is it, $175? They're $200, I think. Well, no,
Trying to look for one.
Oh no, I mean, literally, everyone, I've never bought one, to be honest. They've just sent them to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're one of the guys that happens, but somebody like me, they don't do that.
I would send you one.
Of course you would, but I'm just saying. You know, I actually have a brand new original Leica shade for a 35 f2 somewhere, but I don't have that lens anymore. So
Oh, maybe, maybe I need that shade.
if I find it,
Because I've got to get, I have that, what was that? The 35 f2, it was the third one they made.
well,
It's not bad. I like it a lot, actually, but I
Absolutely.
dropped it. I fucking dropped it, of course.
oh
And
god,
it's the heliacoil. There's something fucked up a little bit, so I gotta send it to somebody to fix.
oh yeah, that's the problem.
And it's funny. I have that 75 f2, the Apo.
Oh, that's a nice lens.
I use it mostly for motion with a
That's a nice
convert.
lens,
Oh,
yeah.
dude, it's beautiful.
It
Like,
makes I gotta say, I eventually got rid of I had the last version of the Summicron, and when they came out with the 75, I'd already gotten rid of my 90. I actually prefer the 75, that focal length than the 90 on a rangefinder.
it's really pretty.
The 90's too long.
I mean,
it's
you
just
know how
too
to
long.
use it.
Yeah. Anyway, if I'm using a telephoto, I really want to look through it.
That's.
I mean, I just, on a rangefinder, you're completely lost.
I agree.
You can't, because sometimes wide open, you don't want wide open. You want maybe 2 stops down, and you can't see that in a rangefinder.
Right, and it's really pretty at f4.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. I'll bet that lens is stellar at all the f-stops.
Oh, it is, but the thing is, like, for video and stuff, I like it at f4. Two's a little wacky. I don't get the whole, like.
I'll tell you what lens so my 85 that I have for the Sony is the Batis, the 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is creamy, and it's small. It's small, and it's quiet autofocus. The 85 1.4 that G Master that Sony makes is beautiful piece of glass, but you can hear it when it focuses.
Yeah, and if you're using sound on top of a camera, and that thing's autofocusing, like I mean, for scratch audio, like what I'm doing on a B camera right now, it's fucking great. However, if it's your only camera, I wouldn't run. It's loud. You hear it. And even the vibrations going through the body to the microphone, you can hear.
I borrowed Brett's to do some basketball shots at Venice Beach. I got some outrageous images with it, but I could hear it, and I was going, "Yeah, good thing I'm not doing video with this thing." You could hear that thing going off, and you'd be, "Oh no."
Yeah, but it's all getting better. What we used to have 4 people on a camera for, dude, you can do what you can, like, on a motion camera. There's no excuse for creativity now. If you're going to use things as excuses, back in the day, if you wanted to make motion, I mean, how much was a real film camera? Tens of thousands of dollars. How much were the lenses? Tens of thousands of dollars. You can't do it by yourself. You had to have at least 2 people. Now, one-man band, you should be able to do almost everything you want. You should.
Yeah. Okay, so back on Transamerica. I went to the Olympics. When I was inside, it was a high-speed Ektachrome, which was a normal 160.
Yeah.
I took a monopod. I rented. So by the time I went to the Olympics, my deal with them was when they hired me was the first 90 days I was using my own equipment.
Oh, that's right.
My own equipment was 2 M4P Leicas. That was the Leicas before the M6. They basically were, They were M4s without timers. That's the only pretty much the difference. They were M4s without timers.
Uh-huh.
They were assembled in Canada to stop the tariffs. So I had two M4Ps, and they took motor drive. So I had a motor drive on one, 3 lenses.
Wouldn't you call that a winder? That's not a motor drive.
No, it was a winder.
Yeah.
It was a winder. Because it was like a second and a half.
Yeah.
Took 4 AA batteries, and they were actually pretty good. It was quiet.
It's not loud.
It was very, very quiet, you know. And I kept one motor drive and one manual, and I had the MR4 meter on one of the bodies, because it didn't have meters in them.
That was that thing that sat on top, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually sat on top and had a little cam. It cammed into the shutter speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't want too much money for one of those.
What the fuck would you need one of those for?
No, if I had an M4, if I had any.
You don't need an M4. You have a perfect camera.
I'm not going to buy any more Leica because I'm dreaming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying another Leica.
If I won the lottery, I'd right now tomorrow I'd have a Hammertone MP. That's my dream camera.
Absolutely.
But I'd have the money to have it. It's like, why not? Because I can.
Right. I mean, I can't even think of any light. I have a 35, I have a Nocti, and I have the 75, a couple 35s, and an old 50, but I don't need any more Leica. I'm done.
One lens and I got down to a point because that's all I ever used. I didn't use the 90 or the 28 or the 21 anymore.
Right.
So I have the 50. I have a 50 on it, and I'm happy.
Yep. Yeah, you should shoot with a Nocti for like a month.
Well, get me one, I'll do it. Send me one, I'll shoot it. So I was, and then I had a 4x5 Sinar.
Not with you at the Olympics.
No, I'm talking about the equipment.
Oh, okay, because I was like, you brought that motherfucker too? Because that's a lot of gear to take into a...
I could have, but what good would it have done me? If I tried to carry that into the Olympics, I would have got shot by the police and they thought I was a terrorist or something. Yeah, so by the time I got to the Olympics, my deal was after 3 months they buy me what I wanted. So they bought me the Nikons. I bought a Sinar P system.
Right.
And all the lenses, all the attachments. The longest lens I owned, I didn't really buy a long lens because I didn't need it for the kind of work I was doing for them. I would rent stuff when I needed it. On 4 occasions, the whole time I worked there, I rented a 600 f4 to do a job they needed me to do. And during the Olympics, I rented a 200 f2.
Nice.
And
what a beautiful lens.
Shoot men's volleyball. So I went to Irina's PRS, and I rented that for a week. And I thought it was a great lens, and I'm glad I didn't own one because, to be honest with you, I never had a use for it after that.
Did it have the matched 1.4 with it?
No, I didn't need it. I just needed it to be 200. I was in the stands shooting men's volleyball and some basketball stuff with it. I did own, the longest lens I got them to buy me was a 180 280D. Great piece of glass. And that would have, I needed an extra, I needed the 9/10 of a stop. I mean, 9/10 of a stop got me to where my shutter speeds without having to push that film was a 60th of a second at, f2.
Right.
And I knew how to shoot, so I didn't get a lot of blur. And the pictures were gorgeous, But the normal film I was using when I wasn't doing high speed stuff was RDP, that overcolored Fuji film. That color sep guys hated because the correction on it was off the charts. I mean,
it was definitely punchy.
The reds and greens were
punchy.
Yeah, just like, man, on drugs.
Everybody used it.
Well, Kodak.
Dude, that's all we shot for like those car commercials and shit. That's all we shot was RVP and RDP.
This is how Kodak screwed up. when they did the sponsorships for the Olympics in like 82, 83, when the companies got a chance to buy them,
Yeah.
they gave American companies first dibs since it was in LA. Kodak decided they didn't want to waste the money on the sponsorship for the Olympics. So they waited too long. Guess who snapped it up?
Oh, it was Fuji.
Fuji! So
Yeah.
Fuji was everywhere. And Kodak was the sponsor for the US Olympic team.
Right.
You know?
I mean, Fuji's kind of the last man standing, to be honest.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you know, they've always done what they wanted, which I applaud.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but that's the hobby brand. They're a chemical company, and their parent is pharmaceutical. Like, it's like kind of like Mitsubishi owned Nikon, and who owned Fuji Heavy Industries owned Subaru. That was literally the guy's hobby before he sold 49% to Toyota or some shit. But yeah. The cameras, they love pictures in Japan. Thank God. Thank God. We wouldn't have any of our shit if it wasn't for them.
I remember when that GF670 folding camera,
Yeah.
they rumored it, and I asked the rep at the time, "Are they going to make that camera?" He goes, "Nah, they'll never make it." And damned if they didn't. They made it, and I was like, "Wow, they brought this out. They brought that camera out after 2009." I'm just going,
I know.
I said, this is wonderful. Who else is going to make a film camera like this? You know, they stopped production on them.
They did that with a lot of cameras like that. The GW, what is it that I have? The GW6, yeah, GSW 690. Dude, I love that fucking camera. And what I also love is printing those negs. Those 6.9.
Tack sharp, yeah.
I found a 6.9 carrier for my Saunders LPL for like $50. Yeah, I jumped on that.
Don't you have the glass carrier with the blinds in it?
I have that one too.
You use that. You don't need the other carrier.
I don't like the edges. I don't like the edges that the blinds give you. They
Really?
just seem a little they don't seem as sharp as the carrier to me. I don't know.
Mine are tack sharp
Well, it's fucking Durst.
Yeah, but you know what you could do? Well, if you really wanted to, you could get, you remember the tape that you could get, that black tape you could get, the really fine black foil tape used on slides to mask off slides?
Yeah.
Get some of that.
Do you think they still make it?
You can find that stuff. They got it. You can go to a sound house and buy it.
Okay.
Go online and you can find, I'll bet you can find it, any kind of tape. You can go to art store and find any kind of fine tape. It doesn't have to block light. All it has to do is just,
Right.
you can just, you put that on your carrier and it doesn't leave a residue.
Oh, I have paper tape. It doesn't leave residue.
You could do that.
Yeah. I use paper tape a lot more than gaffing tape.
I very rarely put in my non-glass carrier. I always keep the glass in with the blinds. And I don't remember where, because if your negatives can still pop sometimes.
I mean, yeah, of course.
With the glass carrier, once you put it in, it's never going to move.
I just hate that many surfaces of fucking shit to clean, man.
It's not. Oh,
I hate spotting. Spotting's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but diffusion head is going to be way better than a condenser head for that.
Absolutely. That's why I'll never have a fucking condenser
Like
head.
you had pinpricks in all your prints.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have one. Do you have one? Because I don't see one out back there.
That's a diffusion head. That's a multi-grade diffusion head.
That's what I have.
Yeah. Yeah. My first Durst was the 4x5 condenser.
Okay.
And so this is what happened. So I bought this one, and I hauled it up the stairs by
Wait,
myself.
did you buy that brand new?
Yes.
Holy
Brand new, 1988.
shit.
Brand new. It was $4,800. Yeah. 40.
But wait. That's like saying I bought a car and it didn't have wheels and it didn't have any accessories. So that's not the true cost of that enlarger, because each one of the things you bought was fuckloads. Yes.
Yeah. And the carrier didn't come with it.
No, it didn't. I mean, I don't know it did, but I can tell it's a Durst. It didn't come with it.
Carrier was another $700. So I walked out of there with the carrier, the enlarger, and it came with the baseboard. And then later on, I got the other mixing chambers, you know, and then I made sure I had a complete set for most of my formats of glassless inserts,
Right.
and glass carrier, so I could put glasses if I wanted to.
Right.
So I've got the mixing boxes for 35, medium format, and 4x5. And this is what's funny. I have the 3 matched achromatic lenses, you know, which are still, they're an insane amount of money now. I have
They're still insane.
the 4x5 one is the price of a cheap car.
It is.
I have that one. The medium format one is Lens Perfection. That's a 90mm 4.5. That's the one I use most of the time, even for my 35.
It's
I have
Apo,
the 35,
right?
45 for 35. Yeah, they're all Apos.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a 50 Apo Rodenstock.
Rodagon, yeah.
It's beautiful, and you can tell a difference.
One of Brett's neighbors say, "Hey, I got this in my darkroom. You want it? It's here. It's one of those. It's in the drawer." You know, and I have a Nikon, the Nikon 52.8 enlarging lens, very good.
Is that the Apo one?
No.
Oh, okay, because you know about the Apo ones from Nikon. They're worth a fuckload of money.
Yeah, because they're very good.
And they're very rare.
Yeah, you know, the Nikon large format glass held its own against the Germans and was much preferred by. I actually preferred the Fuji and Nikon large format lenses to the German ones.
Huh.
You know.
I have 2 of each. I have 2 Fujis and I have 2 Schneiders for my large format.
I bought 2 years ago because I was a project going on. I'll inform you as it's coming along, but I snagged a pristine 180 Schneider 5.6 in a Linhof board for $90.
That's not bad.
From Japan.
Oh, was it on eBay?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, dude, that's where you find all that stuff in mint condition cheap. You know?
I found some good stuff on there. I've found good stuff on Craigslist, and now with like COVID-19, holy shit! I mean,
yeah.
I picked up some pretty crazy shit. Like, I was kind of surprised. Audio stuff.
Yeah. All right. So, equipment wise with Transamerica, so the longest lens was a 180-2.8. You know, and because remember, I was in shape physically. And I was going to the airport with, you know, they require you to wear a suit. So, and they also required me to bring a tuxedo with me because there's a lot of black tie.
Right.
So I'm leaving with a suit, dress shoes, tuxedo shoes, Pelican case. With the Leicas always went as backup cameras because they always worked. So when I'd leave, those were with me. And another bag with the Nikon and some lenses. The film got checked on the plane with clothes. I traveled with company credit cards, and I got $4,000 of company cash because when you want to get film processed,
right,
foreign country. I remember the first trip to they were flying me to Monaco. And the Pro Lab was in Nice, which is a 20-minute train ride.
Right.
And so I got on the phone before I went to France, and I said to the guy, "Look, you speak English?" He goes, "Yes." He's very good. And I said, "Look, I'm flying in for a job. We need to run E6 mounted because I was going to shoot the insurance brokers, and the last night we're going to give them a 21 projector computerized synced show with music, and we were only there for 4 days.
Oh wow! So you had to get all those slides processed to put in those carousels.
I had to shoot the slides, and then the video guys would put them in the show. They did the music and they'd sync them to the show. And so, because we made the mistake of doing that for them one time, and the pro, we like that, and it was like, oh yeah, okay. So I took the train to Nice, And I get there and I go, "Hi, I'm here. I'm Frank Jackson from Transamerica." And I say, "Look, I need you to run these. I'm going to bring film to you, and I need to pick it up. If I bring it to you at night, when I come back with the next load, I need to bring back the stuff I did the night before. Can you do that?" He's, rattle off something in bad English. And I said, "Did I talk to you on the phone?" He goes, "Yeah." And he said, "We." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "How much is it going to cost me?" He gave me a very good rate. And so I go, "Okay, I'll pay you up front for 50 rolls right now." And I pulled that money out. He starts speaking really good English.
Really good English.
His English had no accent after that. It was hilarious. But he processed the hell out of that film, too.
Did he do it by hand?
No, they had a machine.
Oh, he did? Okay. And he said...
86 line, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he had a dip and dunk?
I don't know what he had. All I know is it was beautiful transparencies.
Nice.
The funniest lab I ever went to was on the Bahamas. So, Transamerica bought me an ATL, a Jobo ATL-1.
To bring with you?
The automatic one that had a case made.
Yeah.
Thank God it got lost on the plane on the first flight. Do you know what would have happened if I had been responsible for processing the film and sleeving it and mounting it?
You would have had no sleep.
I would have been dead. And then they would have fired me.
Well, they wouldn't have done that.
Trust me, they trust me. They would have eventually brought me back because if I went to a labor board with that madness, they'd have been like, "Oh no!" But they lost the machine for 6 months. It got lost.
Finally found it.
They found it. It came back 6 months later.
Wow. And it was working?
Nobody had gone in the case. The airlines had lost it. I don't know how do you lose a coffin-sized case? And it didn't leave. It went to the Bahamas, not anywhere.
Oh, that's why. It went to the Bahamas.
So, that machine got lost. So I found the lab, and it was near the hotel. And they only were charging $3 a roll with a 2-hour turnaround.
For E6?
And I was going, because back in LA, that was 100%. That was a rush.
That's 100% rush.
100%, yeah. So it would have been like, back then it was $7 a roll mounted. Sleeved, and it would have been $14 a roll, 100%.
Do you want to know what I just paid a rush fee for?
Oh.
So, to get your chickens butchered, you have to go to this fucking, it is hillbilly as fuck. And this woman's like, "I can get you in about 3 weeks." And I'm all, "Hey, I'm from LA. We got this thing. It's called a rush fee." She's like, "You want to pay me more money?" And I'm all, "I'll pay 100% more." She's like, "You want to pay me an extra $15 to kill those birds?" And I'm all, "When can I come?" And she's all, "You'll be here tomorrow morning?" So,
and you turn into a pimp. I don't love them hoes no more.
No, these were roosters, so I just turned them into stewing birds to make.
Giving you problems anyway, right?
Sometimes I have a problem with roosters. I have one rooster, he's nice-ish, but now that he's about 2 years old, he's starting being a dick.
He's about to be chicken soup.
He'd be a little tough, but one of them, it charged me, and I just drew my weapon and fucking blew him away right there, fucking asshole. And then, how about this? The next day, she's like, "Did you see those 8 vultures down there?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
It's terrible. You fricasseed a chicken on your own property.
I did. He pissed me off and he looked at me wrong, so I fucking shot him.
He gave me some eye shit.
Yeah. That's not as bad as the other one. So there was this other asshole rooster, and I put on one of my scopes, and I saw that there was an aperture in between some fence wire, and he was standing next to 3 hens. And I fucking dropped him through that aperture. Dude, those hens, it was like their fucking friend was murdered. Because they went fucking crazy. Literally went crazy. So I won't be taking out a rooster who's surrounded by hens. That was a little fucked up.
They're not going to lay eggs for a week.
Actually, they didn't lay eggs for about 4 or 5 days. Anything will affect them.
You took away the candy.
Well, no, there was still plenty of roosters, trust me. So now there's just two. There's this big motherfucker who's just kind of too rapey with my girls. So like, I think he's rapey as fuck, dude. His dad isn't, but oh no, dude, he chases him across the yard. Like,
oh, wow,
yeah, no, he's definitely a rapist.
He's like every day Sunday. Amen.
Every day's something to that guy. It won't be for long though.
Oh, chicken soup.
Or vulture food. I don't know. I agree with feeding the entire circle. So let's go back to 100% rush fees in goddamn Bahamas.
Yeah. So the thing in Monaco was great. You know, the pictures turned out fine. The lab in the Bahamas. So the bus system, the public transportation system in the Bahamas, the drivers were all these real Rastas, and they were baked, and they had their music in a cassette deck. So you're hearing really some of the best reggae music you can't hear outside of the islands anywhere. And the guy he's like cranked back like this, and he's got on 4 sunshades, you know, because the sun's killing him. And the thing stops, and smoke wafts out of it. You get on. You feel like you're in a Cheech and Chong movie. And he just stops where he wants to. You know, and I could go to the lab that way. You know, but they did very good work. They obviously, the stuff was all mounted correctly.
That's good.
Yeah, all the stuff that he put in the show were taken out of the plastic disposable mount and put in West mounts.
Yeah.
I have a brand new box of West mounts here with the glass in them. You know, it's kind of hilarious because you can't even find those things anymore.
What do you do with them now? Nothing.
You should put them on a chain and hang around my neck as jewelry.
You could.
Yeah. That's an
You could
idea.
be like Flava Flav without a clock.
You know, you shoot some E6 originals and put them in that, put a hole in them, hang them around your neck as jewelry. I might do that.
And then you could have a gold loop. You have a gold loop, and then you could just go whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to have as an eye loop. As the trips go worldwide, the first trip for Transamerica was they flew me to Kyoto, Tokyo, and then I went with the high money earners. They flew us all to a week in Bangkok, and I got to document that. So that was wild.
I'll bet it was.
Oh man, it was 1985. After coming from Tokyo, which is like Manhattan on crack, and you get to this laid-back place like Bangkok, where you know whatever.
I mean, lady boys on your lap.
Well, you know that wasn't. They were there, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Did you ever go to Tijuana?
No, but I ended up in the Patpong district. Oh, baby. So this is what... So on the free night, I didn't have to shoot pictures. 3 couples of the whitest white folks from Orange County, they liked me. And they were like, hey, Frank, we're going out tonight on the town. Come with us. So I was with these agents that I knew and their wives. And, you know, I was looking at Mr. and Mrs. Cleaver from Dennis the Menace, basically. I mean, these people, you know, they were like straight up and down Ken and Barbie. And so we go to concierge and we're in the cab and they go, what's a good thing to do tonight? And so he looks at the cab driver and goes, Pat Pong. I thought he said ping pong. So he drives to the Patpong district. The Patpong district, you know what that is.
Yeah.
But for the listeners, the Patpong district is anything goes and it's legal.
Donkeys, baby.
Anything goes and it's legal. Basically, the police chief in broad daylight has a table set up with the police at the end of the street, and he makes sure that none of the criminal element mess with the tourists. Yep. And he says to the tourist, if you have any problems, anything, you come see me. I take care of it.
And he
would. They're serious. And they're serious. There is There's no crime in that area to tourists. So we go to this club. It's at night, and I looked like I was in the army because I was in shape. I had an army hat on, and I had a camera on my shoulder. So we go to the club. They didn't want to let me in because they only wanted couples in the club, and I still didn't know what was going on. So anyway, we get in, and there's all these girls walking around serving drinks with numbers on little placards, and the show hadn't started yet. So we can't finish this story because you have to censor most of it. Anyway, needless to say, there was some eye-opening that night.
I'll bet.
Oh man, it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
And so that straight-laced couple from Orange County, they were down?
And they were like, one of the guys leaned over to me and he said, me and my wife are going to have a conversation about this. I just know it. I'm just going, yeah. I said, it might be for the better. You never know.
Dude.
Yeah, man, my eyebrows didn't come down for a year from seeing that show.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
It was wild. But I do like the country. I want to go back. I want to go back to Japan on my own to shoot what I want to shoot. And I want to go back to Thailand and shoot what I want to shoot.
I want to go to Japan, definitely.
I want to go to Japan because I want to go to Osaka for the street food, man. So when I went to Japan in Tokyo the first time, and the only time I've been, I stopped eating at the hotel on the second day. I was going in the street and eating street food. I was going to yakitori bars, man.
Right.
And eating fantastic meals, man. It was wonderful. I stopped eating in the hotel in Bangkok, and I was eating off the carts.
Okay.
Amazing food. You know, didn't get sick, no problems.
You didn't have any. Did you go to China?
Not yet. At some point, you know, I'm not in a hurry to go. I want to go to Vietnam first.
Huh.
I'm hearing great things about Vietnam. But I want to go back to Tokyo. I want to go back to Osaka, Tokyo first, to walk around and shoot. Because when I was there before, I was on their dime, and I didn't have the time to, you know, I was working 18-hour days.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
And they expect that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I remember I did this one trip with these fucking douchebag celebrities, and the PR was like, we still need you. I'm like, I worked for you for 18 hours today. I'm like, fuck you. Well, we're here. And I'm like, yeah, what part of that didn't you understand? Guess what I ended up doing? I went to sleep. Yeah.
The longest trip was to Tahiti.
Oh, I love Tahiti.
And it was great. And I warned people. I was going, you know.
What islands?
See what? I was in Moorea.
Moorea is amazing. You had to go through Papeete though a little bit, right? What a shithole that is.
Well, you know, it's where the airport is.
Right.
We landed in Papeete and then took a ferry to the a resort they had us at, and it was gorgeous. You know, what I tell people all the time is, I'm like, look, if you like islands and you like tropics, don't waste your money flying to Tahiti. I said, you can find outrageous beaches in the Caribbean for a tenth of the cost.
Or Hawaii.
Yeah, well, I would, you know, before I went to fly to Hawaii, I'd go to the Caribbean.
No way, Hawaii kicks ass.
Hawaii's nice, but I would still go. I mean, I've been to both. I'd still go back to the Caribbean. I've been to places in the Caribbean. Just, if they hit you on the head and said you're in Tahiti, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
I don't know, dude. Bora Bora is fucking.
Oh, it's fantastic, but
it looks like a different world.
Think about this. If you can't just go there, you've got the plane flight is insane from here. Think about if you're in New York. From New York, it's insane.
It's only 8 hours from LA.
Yeah, but if you're in New York, it's tacked on another 5 hours.
Yeah, I don't care. Fuck them.
Yeah. Oh no! Wait! No, it's longer than that because
yeah,
it's 5-6 hours to Hawaii and then another 6 hours to Tahiti.
Yeah, it's pretty far out there. I remember that.
It's out, man, you know.
I remember in that stupid ferry. It's a big ass boat.
The ferry was a trip. So what happened on the ferry was the boys. I was in the middle of the boat, and I heard the kids screaming and running to the front of the boat. And I was wondering, why are they screaming? I walked to the front of the boat, and they were looking down. The ferry scares the flying fish. It's amazing to see these giant flying fish coming up out of the water and soaring for 30 yards. And then the birds think they're going to eat them. So the birds see these fish, and they get close, and they realize that fish is bigger than I am.
What year
So
was
they come
that?
down. Huh?
What year was that?
Let's see. It was 87.
Okay.
Yeah, 87.
Because I was there in 90, and I was like, if we were on that same island like we were in France in the 90s,
Pretty funny.
that
That trip was 87, and we went to Tahiti, and then I went with they sent me with the hiring folks that earned another trip, continued on to Australia.
Okay.
There's a picture of me. They went in our winter time, and it was spring over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of me standing on one of those Australian beaches, wearing a leather jacket with signs that says "Danger Sharks."
They got sharks.
Sydney was cool. It was a long plane ride.
Yeah, dude. That the plane ride I took to Asia, it kind of fixed me. I don't like plane rides that long.
I'm okay with them. I know that when we flew from LA to Tokyo, they flew over the North Pole, so it cuts the trip short
Yeah.
instead of flying around. Whereas I know for a fact when we went to Tahiti, we went over Hawaii. Matter of fact, the plane had trouble. We had to stop in Hawaii for 24 hours to fix the airplane.
That's fun.
It was not fun, man, because what happened was they went to my luggage when I got to Hawaii. Don't ask me how, but they went to my luggage when I got to Hawaii, and someone stole the flash unit to my $1,000 Metz flash.
A CT4, a 60 CT4.
Yes, and this is what's funny. What's funny is the idiots didn't take the battery pack because they didn't know. So I just start laughing, going, and the company, that was my flash, that wasn't theirs.
Right.
They gave me a check for the flash, so I got I went and got another one, but I always have backups. I always carry two of everything. I had the Nikon dedicated flash, and battery packs for that, so I use that instead of the Metz. I very rarely ever put the camera on TTL, and this is why. Problem with TTL is if someone's wearing white
Or black.
you're screwed. Yeah, you're screwed. Because the camera,
Dude, how about a black dude in a white suit?
I have a remedy for that. It's called don't put your camera on TTL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
The guys don't, even digitally you're screwed. So I tell these guys, there's a bunch of tricks that, the old guys can teach you that'll save your ass.
yeah, it's called manual flash.
Yeah. Well, automatic flash doesn't.
No, manual flash.
No. Hear me. TTL is not automatic. There's TTL, automatic, and manual. I put it on automatic, and so I'd pick my f-stop.
Yep.
And increase it by 1, and the pictures always came out fine.
I've taken a lot of pictures of white guys in black suits, tuxedos, and TTL. I mean, especially Canon. Canon has the worst flash system on the planet, and I'm sure people will defend it, and you know what? That's fine, but fuck Canon.
Nikon's was pretty damn good. Nikon.
When we had to shoot Canon and they sent in the Canon professional reps, and they're like, "Oh, it's something you guys are doing." It's like, "Oh, all of us?" So the day that I didn't have to shoot piece of shit Canon anymore, I literally called that rep and I was like, "I get to shoot Nikon again. I hope I never see you again." I don't care. And I ended up running into her at like a trade show.
What Canon did what a lot of corporations do. Your family until oops, we're going to disappear your job. you don't have a job, so you don't work here anymore.
So there's always this title that they'll give you, like Director of Special Projects, right? When you get that title, you're fucked. And everybody I know who's ever gotten Director of Special Projects, bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, anytime you get a fancy title on a business card, your job's limited.
Well, unless it's CEO or like special advisor to CEO or something like that. But if it says Director of Special Projects, they don't know what else to call you. And everybody I know that's ever gotten a title even close to that, gone in 6 months.
Yeah, or sooner.
Yeah, that's why I would never want to be a staffer. I mean, staffers are probably the only ones making money right now, as a photographer at least. But I did a shoot yesterday. You know what I shot yesterday? I literally shot sheep and little buds growing out of vines.
That works.
That's fine. I don't care. It's fine.
Hey, it's fun. So we did the Tahiti trip, 2 places in France, London. The London trip I did, my first time I took time off, and that's how I ended up in Paris, and realized that I would never go to London again unless someone else paid for it, like the trip I went.
Yep.
You know, I went to Paris, just was like, man, this was 1989. You know, it was loose, fun. We were there for like 4 days. Me and the guy who would work with me, I was the only photographer at the company, but the video people had 3 people they hired full time.
They always do.
One of them went with me. They had to, because those cameras back then were the size of a anti-aircraft gun.
They were.
You know, and no, they're not that big anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm still friends with one of the guys. It was the guy that gave me my M6.
Right.
Was working with me at Transamerica.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I see Alan for time. Alan actually quit working for them, and he ended up being one of the guys we used to go to photograph on our trip. One of the money people. He started his own investment firm.
Oh
and
wow.
Got his SEC license, and I said, so you turned into one of those high rollers we used to always photograph. He goes, yeah, but he's still a nice guy. And I talked to him. I called him 2 days ago, see if he's doing all right. His daughter took over the company. He's retired. He's the one that bought my HK.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he buys it from me, and then like a month later, he sees me. He goes, "Man, that gun really fires nicely." I said, "Absolutely." I said, "They work very well. They cycle."
Yeah, but dude, the only people that ever used those were like fucking wannabe cops in Europe. Nobody used that. No department would ever have that fucking squeeze handle bullshit. Nobody.
Stop letting air out of my gun balloon.
I know, but that gun, I know, and that gun was worth a lot of money, but nobody used that gun.
Of course not. Then, you know, I liked it when I had it. I don't miss it.
But the Beretta 92F, another piece of shit. Hated that fucking thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just give me a Glock or a SIG and I'm good.
Yeah. He actually bought, you know, he has the money to do it. He went and bought himself, he just bought himself a $7,000 or $8,000 professional video camera because he's Japanese American, and he was doing a anniversary thing about Manzanar.
Okay.
So he went out there and videotaped and did some stuff. They did a movie.
Have you been out there?
No.
It's a trip. It's a fucking trip.
Yeah. I think I told him, I said, you do understand, Alan, that our country is, we're not kind here to minorities in times of trouble. I said, if Roosevelt hadn't signed that order, I said, it's not right that they did that. But if he hadn't signed that order to imprison the Japanese citizens, that every weekend you'd find them hanging from trees.
Oh, yeah.
From some good old boys. And they would have been drunk, and they would have been like, I thought they were spies. And nobody would have gone to jail. And I said, that's a fact. I said, because the last lynching was, I think, 2008 or something.
Yep.
You know, I said, that stuff still goes on, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you live in certain parts of the country, and those certain parts of the country are in almost every state, maybe not like Connecticut or those small little tiny states, but you know, I saw the other day a guy with two of those, what were those flags again? The Confederate flags? Two of them flying out the back of his, and it was like, and then he had a U.S. flag in the middle of the big ass, like we call them Jethro trucks, because these are the fucking guys who, if you don't drive anything American, they hit a switch in their diesel and they do what's called coal rolling. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. But yeah, that guy, two Confederate flags and a fucking U.S. flag. I don't get the point, but you know, I'm not a Jethro.
Well, that's a discussion for another forum. So yeah, he's he goes fishing and enjoys his life. And I remember the day that we went for lunch in 2009. He came by in 2008 toward the end of the year. We went for lunch, and I opened the door, and he hands me an M6 with the Sumalux 135-14 on here. You can have this.
Wow.
He says it's been in my drawer for 10 years because he bought it on my recommendation when we worked together.
Oh,
He used to shoot. He goes, "What kind of camera should I buy?" I said, "If you're going to have one camera, just buy an M6." I said, this is after I left there and I was going to lunch with him, and I said, "You'll keep it," and he did. He kept it. But he said he sat in a drawer for 10 years after that. The rangefinder needed to be adjusted, and I sent it to Justin, and that's when they tricked it out. Like custom work to it, so it's a one of a kind.
Yep.
It's basically a beautiful rendition of a M3, M6, M4.
Well, because you also put in the anti-reflective rangefinder coupling thing.
They did all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he goes, the guy took it apart and rebuilt it. They had it for 9 months. He took his time.
Oh, I know. His name's Bill.
Justin sent me an MP to shoot in the meantime, and he said to me, "Do you want to make it into an MP?" And I go, "Nah, keep it an M6." And I don't regret that.
It's essentially an MP inside anyway.
No, you take the top plate off and you change the film rewind.
Yeah.
It's an MP.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. It's just a top plate and a crank.
I'll tell you what though, I like the M6, the rewind, but I like that one better.
Well, I think the MP is a beautiful camera. It's really nice looking, but I'm like, maybe one day I have extra money burning a hole in my pocket.
You'll get that hammer tone, son of a bitch.
Hammer tone MP. But yeah. So the job was pretty much that. I was doing annual reports. The craziest thing I had to do was they decided to get this cover for one of the annual reports, and they wanted a pyramid of employees, like a pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did that analog because there was no digital.
Right.
They had an auditorium in the company downtown, a theater, because they used to own United Artists. They'd screen movies. They had the big, 200-seat theater. So what I did was I had them rent bleachers for the stage.
Oh, yeah.
And I put the employees on it, and I lit it with 4,800 watt seconds of Blackline Speedotron and 4x5. I set the 4x5 camera, and I shot it all in 4x5 in one shot.
Wow. So
And
let's see,
then
that black line was the 46, the 40, not the 20.
I had two 2400 packs.
Yeah.
Actually, I had three 2400 watt packs. I had one main, and the main light was set a little bit higher, and then I had on the side, so it looked like it was lit, so it was a little bit darker on one side.
Okay.
Just to get some depth to it.
What was the modifying things? Did you use
I had Shamiras, big Shamir soft boxes.
huge ones then? The extra large.
Yeah, had to. And one of the heads, the side heads, did not have a modifier on them, but they were just, I had them set so they weren't too hard. I had grids on them, and so it was one person at the top. There was five rows, one here, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know, it was a great, and I shot black and white T-Max 4x5, and processed the film myself, made proofs for them, and then gave them the prints for the color for the sets.
Did you give them the negs too?
Oh yeah, they owned all that stuff.
I know. I just wondered, like, did they ask for it?
They didn't care. All they cared about was the art department was that I delivered them a print they could send to the printer for the color sets. Because I made really good prints. I made 3 types of prints on satin RC paper because it didn't smudge, and glossy paper wasn't good to copy.
Right.
Because they put it in the camera and make their film from it.
Right.
And so I delivered in T-Max. You talk about tonal range, is a vastly superior film. It is smooth.
Is that the kind of black and white 4x5 film you use today? T-Max? Yeah.
I had to show Brett why, because he said, "Hey, this film is way more money than HP5." I said, "HP5 is a nice film." I said, "If you want to do landscape and you want to get true tonal range, T-Max."
Also, does it do well with like orange and red filters as well? Yeah. So that's funny. I just ordered a box of 4x5 T-Max because of you. Because I'm like, you know what? He wouldn't be lying to me.
So you got 400?
Yes.
Or 100?
I bought both.
Okay, yeah. So I can give you the times. The times are Xtol 1 to 2, 75 degrees, 7.5 minutes, and you'll get money.
Yeah, because you know what? I've just shot Tri-X always, and
Tri-X. So the way you shoot Tri-X, the 320 and 160.
Well, there's no more 320.
Okay, so
well, no, actually, there's 4x5 320, so I still have some of that. Shoot it at 160.
You shoot it at 160, and you process it in D76 1:1, and I forgot the times, but you get back gold.
Okay.
You get back these glowing negatives that have this special tooth to them.
Nice.
So what you'll get with T-Max, you'll get that, but it'll be smooth.
Okay.
So this transition from light to dark in T-Max is like satin.
Okay. Because with Tri-X, it's like, it's 1 or 0, really. I mean, there's gradation, but, right.
Yeah. I like my Tri-X the way Seb does it. He's got some of the prettiest Tri-X and printing I've ever seen in my life. Just magic.
Yep. He does a good job on pretty much everything he does.
And that boy knows how to cook.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you know, I can't stress this to these young guys. It's like you can talk about shooting film as much as you want to, but until you go shoot some film and look at the negatives yourself and make some proofs, you don't need to be doing it a lot.
No, but
understand anything about light.
Right, and now the people who say, "Oh, I shoot film," it's a fucking aesthetic. They're not really getting into why they're shooting it. It's fucking different.
The ones that say they're shooting film, you know what they're doing? They're not making love. They're just jacking off.
That's the thing. And they can say, and you know, I've listened to the film guys podcasts. I've watched their vlogs. I've gone to their Instagram accounts. It's fucking banal. Like, okay, I mean, cool, good for you, shooting film.
And you know, I want to stress this to these guys. Look, we are not being snobs about this. This is something, basically, when I'm talking to the audience out there, and you're talking to me about our experiences with film, this is like listening to a combat veteran try to explain to a guy that's never been in combat, I can train you as much as you want, but there's nothing that I can say to you how you're going to feel when you're getting shot at for real the first time,
Right.
and that you can't think. If you're not dead in the first 2 seconds, you have a chance to possibly survive.
Right.
What I found out about shooting all kinds of film was that just because they say it is doesn't mean it is.
Yep.
And photography is not skateboarding. Skateboarding is you do it till you break your neck, or you land the shot, or you land the trick.
Yeah.
Photography is an art and a science. If you don't do enough of the science, you're doing unreproducible art.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
I tell people all the time, it's like it ain't skateboarding. You have a chance to, okay, street photography. Street photography is very rarely static. You know, when you're out there and humans are doing something, you know, guys are moving around, you got to get your shot. You don't have time to think or focus. You see a shot, you got to pull that camera up. It's got to be snapshot, boom, done. You don't get 2 shots.
Nope.
You might, but you don't. You get 1, you know. And you got to do composition without thinking about it. Now, there are times you can plan your shot.
Yeah, you can wait. I've watched people. They wait for an hour.
So, yeah, and, you know, that's fine.
Right.
You know, and the thing with the people whose work that I see on the street, their pictures don't look like they're cookie cut. You can tell the guy's got a style. It's consistent. But each picture is, wow. It's like somebody went in the kitchen and baked a bunch of cupcakes, and each one, you can tell who did it, but it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
To itself, you know? And
You know what? I think the next time we talk, we should talk about street photography, because I got to go get some goddamn mulch to plant some goddamn onions.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah, you're doing errands. So
yeah, I'll go do
we'll
the
pick
errands
this up again.
Yeah.
You got it, brother. Thanks
Yeah.
again. We'll talk soon, brother. See you, man.